Hello, welcome to the channel. I am Kara McCoy, and we are here in the studio today to talk about something just really simple. Just a question. What are you open for? Are you open with yourself? What are you open for? Today is going to be a little, I guess you can say different because we're going into March and all of the rest of, well, tomorrow, next week will be March. Will it? Monday? Yes. So I wanted to kind of start off with asking the question: are you truly vulnerable with yourself? You don't have to answer that. Team Replay, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for even clicking on. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I would love to have your input on things as we move forward. But yes, the question is, are you truly vulnerable with yourself? Now, we have to ask ourselves that question sometimes because at the end of the day, it's just one of those things that, sometimes we can answer and sometimes we can't. But the question of the day is, are you truly vulnerable with yourself? Let me put that in the chat. Where's my chat box? Let's see. The question is, are you truly, because I'll get to talking and I will forget exactly how I phrased it, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to talk about, we're going to put some things up. We're going to, there we go. I want it on the screen. I forgot to tell you guys that for my planner that I do use, and I didn't put it in the caption, she has a sale. And if you do need it, I'm going to link a video to this video. I'm going to link a video to this live so that you can, if you want to take advantage of the sale that she has for the planners, the planner that I use, which is, let me show it to you. The only plan sale. I love mine because it fits right in my purse. It's very compact. It's very, yeah, I'll link the video because I don't want to get into that. But are you open enough for? And I left the question, I left it as an open-ended question. Because at the end of the day, what are you open for? What are you thinking about? Okay, I always do this and I forget. Team Replay. That's where I want to talk to Team Replay first and foremost. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on. I have a lot of people that come on Team Replay. Now, here's the thing. We're growing over here on Slapping Paint on Paper. I am Karen McCoy channel. And we're learning about being vulnerable. We're learning about art at the same time that we talk. And I would love for you to subscribe to the channel and be able to join in the community, get all the things, because going forward, we're doing change in 2025. We are doing not, I am doing different things in 2025. I am changing up. I'm not pivoting. I just put in new navigational directions. So the question that I put out there is, are you open? Are you open enough for? And I left it to be a very open-ended question because I want you to think about that thing before I get to talking about that thing, right? So I opened up on the desk today. Hi, Dawn. How are you? I literally just finished up with an interview, and it just really had me thinking about things a little differently. So as always, I like to show you guys what I be working on. Look at my fun water. So we're gonna hang out here for a minute, and we're gonna do some desk time stuff because I have some things. Now the question that I put up on the screen is, let's see, where we go. Let's put it right there. So it's right in the middle. Are you truly vulnerable with yourself? Are you truly vulnerable with yourself? We're going to pause for a little bit. I need to plug my phone. The same. And I'm not asking you to share unless you want to share. But are you truly, truly vulnerable with yourself? Not with the world, not with your friends, but with you. And sometimes, like I say, my answer comes back and it's like, no, I'm not. Especially if it's a situation where I feel I'm a little not 100% like I'm not the expert, or I don't feel like it's how can I say? It's not one of those things where I like art. Okay, let's take my art. I don't want to put my artwork up against somebody else's artwork, right? And I might feel like, so I'm not being vulnerable enough to say that, oh, this isn't good or this isn't great. I'm vulnerable enough to sometimes say that, some things are good and some things are great, but do you really, really feel what you're saying? So, like, sometimes, you show up and you be like, oh, well, I feel good about this or I feel good about that. And then you really don't. And I think we serve we give ourselves kind of like a disservice if we do that. And I'm speaking for me first because I know that I do that. But in 2024 and 2025, the start of 2025, I'm learning that I need to show up for Karen first. So in my artwork, what works for me, okay, let's move the question. So Team Replay, if you want to leave a comment, to answer that question. Are you truly vulnerable with yourself? Or you can use it for a journaling prompt. Let me see. I believe I am, but maybe there's always more vulnerable. There's always more vulnerable. Well, I think I could. I don't know if I can be more than I probably could, but I don't think that's vulnerability. I think that's just how transparent I want to be with whomever, whatever the situation is. I think that's more transparency. Like, I would love to be vulnerable with the world 24/7, but I know the world can't handle my vulnerability. Like, they can't handle me always being real and me always basically running out there in the street butt naked, knowing that I'm very, very, very confident in who I am. So I don't think I could do it 24/7. But I try to show up for myself though. So do you allow yourself to sit with the real emotions, or do you push them aside? Like, I wrote in my journal and I wrote down the question and then I went back and I thought about it and I was like, why did you push it aside? You know, and then I asked the question, why did I push it aside, and why was it such a struggle for me to be vulnerable? And then I realized it wasn't that I didn't want to be vulnerable. It was that it wasn't the place for me to be transparent, because again, everybody can't handle the real Karen McCoy. I just don't show up half baked no more. I had another way I used to say it, and I'm gonna keep it clean. But I don't show up to please everybody else anymore. My studio is my studio. My art is my art. I like it. I love it, and I feel like when I get in my studio to paint, like I did this yesterday because I used the water, and I did a little bit more pigment because I wanted my roses to be a little bit more, and where I feel safe enough to be more. Yes. That's what I'm saying, though. And so that's it, because some places they can't handle you. And it's not you wanting to be fake. That's not a fake moment. That's kind of not what I'm talking about. That's more of just choosing, because we can't always, again, people can't handle who we are. People really can't handle when I tell the truth about some of the stuff that I really don't care about. And then because it's important to them, status and class, and what do you have in your studio, what do you have in your house, what kind of car you drive, that kind of stuff don't impress me. I don't care about that anymore. So therefore my vulnerability comes from a place of how I get up in the morning. When I wake up in the morning, what day is it, and do I feel like I want to even say, Lord, thank you? That's what I'm talking about, being vulnerable with your emotions, because that sets you up for where you have to go with the real emotions and who you have to show up and be in that safe space. So like when you do want to talk to somebody, then Dawn, you know that you're safe, it's okay, you're going to be okay, you're going to be received. It's not going to be like a whole lot of fussing and cussing and all of that. It's going to be received in love, and you're going to be giving them all of you, and so it's going to be nothing but pure love. So that is why the question was, are you open enough for? And that for, I left it question marks so that you can answer the question for yourself. All right, I got it cool in here because I was hot. I came in hot today. Um, so the one thing that really makes you want to think about, I guess, let's see. I was missing what you meant. Okay, I was missing what you meant. Yeah, it's okay. I knew what you were talking about, and I kind of want to go like it's kind of hard because for me being multifaceted, I have to come from vulnerability from several different places. So art, we have art, we have personal life, we have my grief journey, and my grief journey is the place where I have to really, really, really sit with the real emotions and try not to push them aside because I know that there are some people that really, really, really need me to be vulnerable in my space. And in my grief, sometimes it's hard to show up because people see the grieving Karen and they take that for a weak person. And that's when the vulnerability kind of takes over. And I'd be like, oh, no, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to, be in my studio. I'm not going to go live. I don't want to talk to nobody about how I feel. That is what I'm talking about when you're talking about in the art, in my grief world. But in the art world, when let's do a walkthrough real quick. I'm very vulnerable to show up here on YouTube Mondays and Wednesdays and any other day I hit live. Right? Show up live, show up on video, show up, just show up, show up. That's me being vulnerable and to have a conversation because I could get on here and do what they do, put the music on and don't say a word. Like that's okay. But that's not what I'm called to do. I feel like this needs to be turned that way. I have to when I wake up in the morning. Let's use this morning. Let's use this morning. Good morning. I mean, good afternoon, Mr. McCoy. So let's take this morning. When I woke up this morning, I woke up. Well, let's say we're not going to talk about 2 o'clock in the morning when I woke up. I'm not going to talk about that time. Let's say when I woke up this morning at 6:30 because I had to go to the hairdresser today, so I knew I had to take dogs out, do a lot of things earlier. Okay, but I woke up this morning feeling great. And then I woke up and it was like I felt good, right? And then all of a sudden when I got up and was brushing my teeth, and then I got this little nasty feeling in my stomach. It's hard to explain. And it just made me feel real like angry and disgusted. And at that same time, I looked in the mirror and I had to say, what's going on? Right? And then that's when the question came up, hey, what's going on? And I had to answer me because remember I told y'all I do self-talk. I do self-talk. And self had to say, I don't know. And when I don't know, I have to be vulnerable enough to tell myself, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. And I looked at the calendar. I was like, okay, it's not that, because with me, I've lost people. I was like, anniversary, like, what is it? And so I said a quick prayer and I was like, Lord, I don't know what it is, but I know you got me today and it's Wednesday and you're going to use whatever it is as a talking moment and as a talking point. And here we are. So by the time I finished with the dogs and got outside and really took a deep breath and just enjoyed the morning, my stomach still started getting more like I wanted to throw up. Like if you've had a baby, women, you know that morning sickness feeling. And that's what it was feeling like. So I kept walking, and I was just like, it'll be all right. And eventually, after walking and, the dogs hanging around my leg and bending down, by the time I came in, I felt different. By the time I left, I felt different. So, but I believe I opened the door for myself to ask myself the question, are you open enough to be vulnerable with yourself? That's what my question mark was. Like so the title of this video, this live is, are you open enough for, and then the question mark. So mine was, are you open enough to be vulnerable with yourself? So you see how I did a play on that? That's the title of the video, and then that's the question. All of this is self stuff, y'all. Now, when we take it back to art, I've had some people, and we're going to do it like church folks say. I've had some people, you've had some people in church that just, they say things and, they're friends of yours or they're associates or whatever, and they make you feel bad. And then you don't want to share your art, or you don't want to share your life, or you don't want to share your story or whatever it is, right? So mine just happened to be my art. I'm self-taught, and with watercolors, definitely with watercolors, because I will go and pull up a YouTube and learn and decide on whether I want to follow the rules or not. These little suckers right here is this palette right here. And so I did this yesterday. Well, I've been trying to do it for the last 2 days, but it worked out yesterday. These are Daniel Smith, and y'all know Daniel Smith of granulating. And if you saw my video on granulation, I'll tag it. I'll put the link to it below, talking about the granulation and the eye opener that I got in figuring out why my flowers were looking kind of wonky. Now, all of this has something to do with vulnerability, guys. Because who did I have to be vulnerable with first? Who did I have to say, man, your artwork don't look good, right? I woke up feeling dangerous. I don't even know how to take that. Feeling dangerous. I don't expound on that, please. But my flowers, let's go. So this is how we're going. I had to be vulnerable with myself first, because let's see, it might not be in these, because this is how I figured it. These are old. Those are new. Let's go with something old. It's like we're going to get married. Something new, something old. So, okay, let's go with this one. And then it was like, are you open enough to critique yourself? Like, does your artwork look good? Does your life look good? Does your bank account look good? All of these things you have to ask yourself. And then when you ask yourself these things, you're being true to who you really are. Because listen, guys, I'm not in your head. I'm not in your bathroom. I'm not even in your journal. But when you answer that question for yourself, it's being vulnerable, even when you're alone. And it can feel uncomfortable. But here's the truth. Let me tell you something. We cannot fully heal, grow, or create great things and do our best work until we learn to be honest with who? Ourselves first. So I have been telling myself, and I'm not talking about critiquing your work, and I'm not talking about comparing your work with somebody else. I'm, again, going to use me, because I do better with using me. I critiqued myself and said I didn't like my flowers. Not the ones I've been doing lately, but last year I was trying to do the rose. The rose was my thing. I mastered peonies. I could do them in my sleep. But I was trying to conquer that rose. And if you've been following me, you've been on the channel. And by the way, if you're here, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified when I do go live, because I do go live other than Mondays and Wednesdays. But see right here, I was trying out these roses, and I figured it was operator error, right? I figured it was mine. It was like a problem. It was mine. It was. However, when I learned, when I'm using Daniel Smith watercolor paints, they're granulating. And so y'all know I don't like learning things about art. I just like doing it, like slapping paint on paper. But when I run up against a brick wall and trying to figure out some things, I have to ask questions. And so I asked myself the question, I put it in YouTube, and then I got some answers. And the answer that I got off of this one video that the lady shared talking about granulating, I was like, well, hot dog. She does landscaping. It works out for her. She likes to have this look. I didn't want this in my flowers. I didn't want this. And so I had to tell myself, man, that looks like crap. But I also had to give myself credit, because some people would love to be able to slap these flowers and come out with this thing. People like, those are beautiful. And I was critiquing them hard. I was critiquing myself hard. But I had to be honest with myself. I had to do the uncomfortable thing of being vulnerable with myself. Because why? I want to heal, grow, and I want to create my best work. So I had to be honest with myself. Now, moving forward, let's see. Where are some roses I did? Oh, yeah, the roses I did yesterday. Now, can you tell? I know you can tell the difference. This one has more white space. Like, just look at these. And this is because I wanted to create from a healthier space. So in asking myself the question, being truly vulnerable with myself, right? I did my roses I felt better doing them. Now these are three different layers. Why? Because when you put the first layer on, because it's granulating and then it depends on which one you use. Hi Talia, what's up? What's up? Depends on what color I was using. I was getting this and I didn't like this, right? So what she did on her thing was saying, when she was talking about the granulations, and she was talking about it from a place of doing landscaping. And then I was sitting there and I was like, I don't care about that. I don't do landscaping. I want to do my roses. And then it hit me. Well, the same thing applies, fool, right? So I had to figure it out. Well, I didn't have to figure it out, but I started slapping paint on paper, and I started by doing I started with these, making my circles, and I can see what she was talking about. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. But y'all, if I wasn't truly vulnerable with myself, I wouldn't have went down this rabbit hole. Listen, I'm always happy to see your face. I am so grateful. Everybody that's here live, that's my Talia. That's my local artist that we get together and hang out and go. Look, Talia, I got this in the mail today, so it's that time again. Got that. Yep. But my point was being vulnerable, even when you're by yourself, and we're not talking about other people, we're just talking about you. Even alone can feel uncomfortable. And when you get in that uncomfortable place, that's when I want you to tell yourself the truth. Not talking to anybody else. I want you to tell yourself the truth. Because then and only then can you fully heal and grow, or you get to create your best work. But only when you're honest with yourself. If you don't like something, just tell yourself, I don't like it. I'm not talking about going out telling everybody in the world what you don't like or whatever, unless you need to. But I'm talking about something as simple as in my art world. Now, when you slide over here to my grief world, again, I don't share my story with everybody. Here on YouTube, I give out bits and pieces. When I talk, when I speak, people get to know more when they invest more into me going down that road or whatever. Then I'm more vulnerable with them, more vulnerable with a mother who has lost a child. Why? Because she gets it. I get her, she get me. We don't really have to, it's like the artist world. We don't have to explain why we like paint. We don't have to explain why we have a whole cabinet crate full of watercolors, acrylic inks. We don't have to explain why we have a tub full of scraps, because we get it, right? So with a mother, I get to be vulnerable with another mother who has lost a child, right? So in that avenue, in that space, it's different. So I have different lanes of where my vulnerability shows up. Like I was saying earlier, everybody can't handle the real you, and that's okay. Right? There's nothing wrong with it. So today we're gonna talk about as we talk, I'm gonna slap some paint on some paper, do some things, as we talk. But look at these. This is life after that video. Do you look at this thing right here? Boy, I fell in love with this right here. I said, girl, you better do that thing. I had slapped myself on the back and did. Indeed. So today we're going to talk about 5 powerful ways to be more open, not with your husband, not with your kids, not with your friend, not with your boo, but with yourself. Why? Because vulnerability isn't just about sharing with others. It starts right here with you. So look in the mirror, pull out your mirror, or look in your reflection, whatever, however, wherever it is, and however you acknowledge your feelings. Acknowledge those feelings. Where's my other sheet? That was one of my fun ones. This one was one of my fun ones. This is 3 shades of red. Listen, I tried to put them in order. Look, this has been a process, y'all. I even pulled out the thing. But check it out. Because I wanted them in order. And as I get them, we're going to put them in order. So the colors, I learn more about, the what do they talk about? What is that word? is it the pigment. We're talking about the pigment. And so I learned, because I wanted to pay more attention as to why my flowers be looking like they were looking. And so on the one, it was a Daniel Smith video, and they were talking about when you use certain colors, because y'all that's on here, and and I'm only talking about talking to my art people. So if you're on here and you're here for the conversation stuff, just close your ears a little bit. It don't matter. But on these things right here, these are some of my let's see where are my glasses at, because y'all know I can't read that little writing. Life over 50 get a little rough for you. They have numbers on them, right? The pigment. And I was kind of confused when I was like trying to get my flowers to be what they were. And so they were like, this is a combo. I was like, shut your mouth. Ultramarine is this? No, Moon Glow. There we go. It's a good example. So when you're trying to do, let me go back. When I was trying to make my flower just be what it was and then go back with the same color, I wasn't using multiple colors, right? That is why it wasn't coming out like this one. This one is 3 different blues. That's 1. That's 2. And then, of course, that's blue-green. But then this one has 3 different ones in the flower. I was like, girl, I was feeling myself. So how often do you ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Now, I'm going to this as we go in, and I flip through these things. As I was coming up with these, I was asking myself in my journal, like I told y'all, I've been going back in my past journals, and then I was like, somebody needs to know that they can do that, right? Because I did it, so they can do it. It's not just for my grief journey. It's for my art. It's for my marriage. It's for my friendships. Because at the end of the day, if I can't be vulnerable and I can't be transparent, then I can't be authentic in who I am. And I have to be the real McCoy. I am Karen McCoy. Reds. And I was like, man, shut your mouth. So Daniel Smith is the only one that did it for me. And I was trying to figure out why. Well, the other ones aren't granulating. Duh. Look at that. This one has, let's see, 1, 2, 3 different, I should have wrote it on here, but this one has 3 or 4, because that's opera pink, that's my magenta, and then that's something red, that P word red. So yeah, I was having fun. And so all of these, and then, oh yeah, I put down here because I had to, yeah, Moon Glow, Indigo, trying to figure out which one was which. Because they were pretty. And then I went and put them all in like a little bush and put the flowers to pop out. But check it. This was my baby. So we like close to it. But now that I'm collecting, I get to see like the granulation that's in there and in there. And then the amethyst, I thought I was just won the lottery when I got amethyst. And then my favorite is sap green. And then this burnt sienna. Y'all know burnt sienna. I love sienna. So much so that I have a dog that's named Sienna Grace. And I put them over here put the names of them. And then I just, paint it. Because when I do the swatching, I hate the waste paint. So there we go. We get to look at what they look like. And how all of these are just these. Like you would think that's black in there. But it's not. And there was another one that I had in... Oh, it's behind me. I know where it is. Ain't she pretty? Listen, y'all. Show up for yourself and tell yourself how great you are. Don't wait on nobody. Stand in the mirror in the morning. Ask yourself, what am I feeling today? And then answer that question. And then if it's negative, then have self-talk to be like, girl, you so bad. You are the baddest thing. You are the best thing that God woke up this morning. Have self-talk. Be vulnerable with yourself. Tell yourself, right? We're going to push through these emotions. We're not going to push them aside, right? Because we need to work through them. We are not going to push them aside. We're going to acknowledge our feelings. So that's number 1. We're going to acknowledge our feelings. Isn't she pretty? She is so pretty. And then I went and over, what do you call it? Traced over it with a Sharpie. And there, I didn't put the legend over here. because they were some of the ones that was on another one in another book. But had fun, had fun. That's all I can say. I was having fun. So I want you to think about being vulnerable with just yourself. We're not talking about nobody else, but being vulnerability means facing those feelings without any judgment. And I had to do a lot of work, because when you have trauma in your life and you go to talking to people, you have to ask yourself, where are you speaking to them from? Are you speaking to them from the trauma place? Are you speaking to them from the heal place? Like, where is whatever you're saying, where does it come from? And you have to, and so one of the things I highlighted in my journal is I highlighted, what emotions have I been ignoring, right? So that can be a journal prompt right there. So what emotions are you ignoring? And remember, this is a moving target, guys. It is not the same every day, every month, every week. It's not the same. Okay? It is not the same. So don't think that just because you got something fixed today, or you had that conversation today, like tomorrow or next week, that it won't pop back up, because it could. It very well could. So one of the things I want you to do, but tonight before you go to bed, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what emotions have I been ignoring? Do that. Okay. Because evidently I looked at my journal, I answered the question. And at the time, my emotion that I was ignoring, that I was angry. So that meant that was coming from my grief space, right? Because I was angry, and it was like 5 years ago. So I was angry that my son was gone. Like, my son was someone decided to kill my son. So that's where that emotion that I was ignoring. Why? Because I was trying to move on, like life was okay and I was going to get through this yet again, and it was going to be okay. But I had to realize, I had to tell myself that, yeah, it's going to be okay. But right now I was angry. And so as I was reading through that, oh, I didn't wake up my paints over here. I said I was just going to use the water because it is so saturated with all the pigment. So how about we just continue to do that? But yeah, so that's the thing that, I pretty much had to do. And I had to be vulnerable with myself. So the question, remember we started off with the question, the title of the video, are you open enough for? That'll be a good space. So are you open enough for to be vulnerable with yourself, and then to move on and continue? These are a lot of prompts in like one sitting, really. And but really answer it. Nobody's there. Nobody's there with you but you. But do you realize how much we don't talk to ourselves, how we try to ignore talking to ourselves? So what do you think you do with other people? Like, if you don't want to answer a question to yourself, and then somebody else say something to you, then you kind of don't want to answer them either. Let's stop at 3. All right. Number 2 is stop apologizing for how you feel. That's tip number 2. Stop apologizing for how you feel. Why I say that? Because that's what Karen was doing. I was grieving and I was apologizing because other people couldn't handle where I was in my life, right? And I don't know why, and nor do I go back and talk to, I say broken Karen. Broken Karen really didn't know what she was doing. She was trying to figure out what she wanted to do. She was trying to figure out how life after death was. The 6-year anniversary of my son's death, the 18th anniversary of my daughter and granddaughter's death. And I get to still wake up and ask myself that question of what are you feeling? Because it still applies. What emotions are you ignoring? But none of it, I'm not ignoring the grief. Like, I just wake up and say, today ain't the day. I don't go nowhere. I come in the studio, I create. That's pretty. And I do stuff like that. Right? So, I stopped apologizing for how I felt. I stopped, stop saying I'm sorry for crying, or I shouldn't feel this way. Like, I just stopped apologizing. And I just stopped apologizing for other people too. So what I can say from that place, if you find yourself doing that, and if you're on Team Replay, remember, we love Team Replay, just like we like Team Live. and you happen to scroll through and YouTube has given you this video, subscribe to the channel for more. I'm here Mondays and Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And most of the time we're talking, well, I can tell you this. For the month of March, all through March, we're diving deeper into showing up for yourself in vulnerability, as in workplace, friendships, relationships, marriages, wherever it is. And kind of doing art as I, whatever. I kind of have it all, well, I do have it all mapped out. If you go to the channel, you can hit the, what is that button say, notify me, so that way you'll get an email when I do go live for whatever topic that might intrigue you, because we're going to talk about it from different standpoints, and super excited. Oh, and another thing, if you're not part of the Patreon family, I would love for you to join me over there. Click on the link in my bio in the profile, and I do have an upcoming that I'm gonna be trying something different. And you have to register for that. And I don't think I linked that in this video, but after this live, I'll put it in the description box below. And everything, all the things to work with Karen McCoy, I am Karen McCoy, is in my profile. Okay. All right. That's station identification. Now let's get back to our tips. Number three is one of those things that I really, I am working with even to this day. Letting go of being perfectional. Remember I told y'all how I got down this rabbit hole with Daniel Smith and the granulations and all that, because I judged my painting, and where somebody else was saying, oh, that's great, that's pretty, and I was sitting over here, it's like, it's all right, but it just wasn't what I wanted. So it wasn't that it wasn't perfect, it just wasn't what I wanted, right? So when we're talking about letting go of being perfect, that you have to look at for your own life. Like, what does that being perfect look like for you? I can go back for me and say, well, let go of being perfect in my personal life is I stopped writing Lifetime movies. And you might say, what? I stopped writing scripts for other people as they showed up in my life. And, you expect them to do this or that, and then they don't. And then when they don't, then your feelings are hurt. Well, they didn't get the script. Like, you wrote the script, but they didn't get the script, because that's not how it works. So I always tell my kids, tell my husband, for every action, there's a reaction. Like, if you come at me from the left, I'm going to come back from the right, and you say something and I'm going to tell you, well, I don't feel that way, or I understand yours, but I would like for you to understand my standpoint, right? So when I say I don't write the script anymore, I don't get my feelings hurt, because people are not, they didn't answer the email. They didn't pick the email up, or they didn't open the email rather, or they didn't get the mail I sent. And that's just my joke for me, is to, give people a pass, to say, they don't know what you want, or they don't know what you're going through, right? In my world of my grief world, when I go out and go to the commissary or go to the store somewhere, and I had to go, let's say I had to go out, and somebody just kind of does something, and then it'd be like, you know what, they don't know that today, just not today, and they might want to go on and leave you alone. Like, I don't worry about that no more. Seriously, don't worry about that anymore. So I just gave up on the perfectionism of it all. Just stop trying to be perfect. Like, it made me struggle too much, and many of us, we kind of, well, let me go back to me. I was struggling with vulnerability because I was afraid to be seen as imperfect, right? So I'm doing this whole talk about vulnerability from my place, my vision, whether other people want to admit that they're not vulnerable, whatever. It's all about me sharing with somebody who maybe need to hear it, or maybe it was just a refresher for me. But real growth happens when you embrace the messy, unfinished parts of our journey, right? Remember what I talked about Monday? Don't worry about the end result. Just start. Again, we started with a blank piece of paper. I'm not focused on the end result. I'm just going through as I talk to you guys and give you these tips and things from my journal. I think this journal was, I looked at, oh yeah, it was 2020. And it's because before my son was killed, I don't think vulnerability was on my radar. I wasn't trying to be vulnerable with nobody because I felt like people would take it a sign of weakness when you try to show up and be the best version of you, and then they go behind your back and then they say something and you're just like, you're over here just trying to do what the Lord tells you to do and show up and give the greatest of these things, which is what? Love. And then, so, I personally tend to shrink back in the shadows and be like, yeah, my vulnerability ain't welcome over here. Let me go back over here and take my realness because I refuse to be put in a box. And this is just over years of the traumas that I've gone through, the um, growing up in a household that you get told to shut up instead of having a little opinion or giving your opinion. No, you don't have to worry about that, right? Acknowledge your feelings, let go of perfectionism, and stop apologizing for how you feel. It'll go a long way. Trust me. Just trust me. Trust me. I want you to trust me on that. But you know what I also want you to do? I want you to trust yourself more. Because being open with yourself means that you're going to trust that you can handle whatever is coming up. Because how many of us know that life is going to keep on life, and it doesn't matter what we do. Life is going to life, and ain't nothing we can do to stop it. My son died October the 4th. October the 5th, life was going on. Nobody stayed in, the world didn't stop, right? So when something go wrong in your life and somebody passes away, or whatever the trauma or whatever the bad thing that made you pause or made you have to pivot, life continued on. After my daughter died, life went on. I was the one sitting there, and you're the one that's sitting there trying to figure out, oh Lord, well, what am I going to do now? And the first thing you can do for yourself is to be honest. And that's what I really tell mothers who have lost children if they're just like, I don't know where to start. Well, start saying that and start asking yourself the question, well, what do you want? Aside from wanting your child back, because that's what we ultimately want, right? Okay, I want you to trust yourself more. Please, 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 please. Trust yourself, hug yourself, treat yourself. As a matter of fact, right now, in your space where you are, say, I trust myself to feel, heal, and to grow. Let me write that. Let's write that. Let's see. Let's put that over. That'll be a good thing. Oh, man. Oh, here, let's put it right here. All right, let's see. What I said, I trust, this is why I have to write stuff down. Y'all know life over 50 gets you. I trust myself to feel, because we want to feel it. We need to heal so we can heal it, and to grow through it. And to grow through it. Because it says in the word, the storm doesn't last always. Okay. Trust myself to feel, to heal, and to grow. And I put through. Oh, I got to put it. Right? There you go. I trust myself to feel, to heal, and to grow through it. Right? The storm don't last always. How many of you guys know, like, Dawn just finished with a snowstorm where she was snowed in, and Dawn, you get the car started? Did we get out? But it didn't continue to snow on and on and on. And now the sun is shining, and so we have life after the storm. But in the meantime, we have to acknowledge while we're going through the storm, just acknowledge your emotions, acknowledge that they pissed you off, acknowledge that you're upset that you're going through what you're going through, acknowledge that we are in a climate right now that just doesn't make sense to you, or however you want to describe it, because at the end of the day, you can't keep that stuff bottled up. So this is why I slap paint on paper. All right. That's cute. That is real cute. And number five, allow yourself to receive, right? I'm dog sitting for one of the puppies we had, for an owner who got a puppy from us. And They're gone to Hawaii, by the way. Let me put that out there. And so we're puppy sitting. And it's like, well, how much whatever. And I was like, oh, nothing. And she's like, well, I'm going to give you something. I say, no, you're not. Allow me to bless you. And some people can say, well, you should have allowed them to bless me. I'm quite sure it's somewhere along the line I'll get a blessing. But right there in the moment, I felt like blessing them. So my vulnerability wasn't just about expressing, it was about receiving what she said in love, kindness, and grace, but it was also in fact of me giving it. So I wanted her to receive it as well. Because sometimes we have a problem receiving, like expressing. This is when you know you got a problem with it. Somebody say, we're going back to my art. Oh, that's pretty. No, it don't look good. It's not there yet. I'm telling you what I am telling you guys what I'm going through, like what I've had to deal with in the past. Oh, that's a pretty dress. Oh, this old thing. That's the kind of thing right there. Or it's like, oh, you got like if Talia, we always have the running thing. Talia has everything, and she. Well, I mean, she has great, wonderful, nice things. She has the most beautiful pouches. She gets all the pouches. Like, you want to see the pouches, just go on Talia's page and scroll through and see all the pictures of the pouches. But some people can't no excuses, just acceptance. Now, the reason that I'm doing that for other people is because I had to learn it myself. It was hard to, somebody's like, well, you need me to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, no, I got it. I mean, after all, I'm the mother of 7 kids. I thought it was a badge of honor to say I was able to do this, 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 and this. And at the end, I find out that no, it probably was in my weak space that I just couldn't be vulnerable enough to say, well, yeah, you can pick up so and so and so for football practice, and then I'll go pick the other ones up for choir practice, and then I'll go swing by it. Like, no, I had to do it all. And I was so happy when daughters learn how to drive, be like, okay, you can do this, because then we were still doing it in the family. Don't cheat yourself with somebody asking you to help, just to help, right? Okay. I like that. I'm going to have to let it dry, because now is the point to I want to do layers and do some other stuff to it, and it needs to dry. Needs to dry. All right. If you're on the live and you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. I've looked at my analytics, and it's like I have 70% of the people that view and watch the live, and I mean watch the live a good little bit, but they're not subscribed. So if you would subscribe to the channel, because we have, right now, we just had a conversation and I gave out the tips for being vulnerable with yourself. Like, really simple stuff. Simple, really simple. Ask yourself, are you vulnerable with yourself? Not anybody else, right? But then not even with the world, your friends, or whatever. And then I'm telling you, if you answer the answer to the question was, stop apologizing how you feel. Excuse me. And don't worry about being perfect. Trust yourself more. The only person that knows about it is you. So you're being honest with yourself, and allow yourself to receive. Always have your hands open to receive. It's like when we're in church and they give the benediction and everybody have their hands up. I'd be like this, Lord, I want hands. Give me all the things. Please and thank you, right? So the next time someone offers you some support, you can just say, thank you. That's what I want you to do, right? So vulnerability with yourself is the foundation for everything that you really got going on in your life. Like, really, your healing and your healing, like my personal healing, my relationships, and my creativity, right? So what's one way you can be more vulnerable with yourself? That's what it's down. I had down here in the prompt, and my answer changes. Why? Because it's a moving target. Okay. All right. So team replay, I want you to drop comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if this message spoke to you, I would love for you to like, subscribe, and share this video, this live. It's going to be a video by the time team replay get it. And then when you get off of here and we're no longer live, I would love for you to share it as well, right? Because vulnerability is the foundation of everything. Okay. It was 50 yesterday. Oh my God. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey guys. She knew today. Monday was one thing. Now she's different. So when you weren't here from the beginning, that's why I started it off on desk time. All right. Okay. All right, that's it. So that's it. That's all I have for you today. I just really want everybody to really take a personal look at. I'm having to move this because I'll be done stuck my hand in it. I'll take a picture and put it in the comments, and y'all can go to the comments and see the finished product of the layers. I'm going to do to it. Okay, and if you want to learn more or do more, you can join my Patreon where I actually teach how to do all the things. Okay, all right, got that over there. All right, so again, if you haven't hit that thumbs up button and you're here, please hit the thumbs up button. That lets YouTube know that you like what you're seeing, you're over here, you're hanging out, and you're really learning how to be vulnerable with yourself. Now, the question that I asked at the beginning, which is the title of the video, is are you open for, and really that is left up to you. I'm talking about vulnerability. So when you look at it from a vulnerable place, are you open to being vulnerable? And what does that look like for you? Like, really, what does that look like for you? For me, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a granddaughter, I'm a daughter. Like, I wear many hats, and I'm not vulnerable in all those places because I know that everybody can't handle the real Karen McCoy, right? And that's just how it is. And you know what, guys? I'm okay with that. And I want you to be okay with that as well. It doesn't matter what someone else has to say about you. Are you okay with who you are? And that's all that matters. And I'm okay with me. Because in 2025, my word of the year is change. And I am changing. That's why I'm going to have to do a new video. I'm going to have to do a new walkthrough. Maybe Monday, I'll start out with doing a walkthrough on the video. Maybe, I don't know, because I've already put out my 2025 studio makeover, but I've made it over again since January. So that's it. Y'all know, as always, I thank y'all for hanging. All the things, I thank you for hanging. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, because we're just getting started on this journey of being vulnerable and creating. And also go back to my channel so that you can go and see on the channel. It's already scheduled, every conversation that I'm going to have for the month of March. And next week is March, right? We're in March already. Let's see. March 1st is Saturday. Oh my goodness. February is already short anyway. But hey, are you truly vulnerable with yourself? I'm happy to say that I am. Some days I don't like who shows up, but I'm honest with myself to tell myself, you need to face your feelings. You need to face what is going on in your life, and you need to figure it out. Okay? And that works for me. Figure out what you need to do for you. If you're into anything that I've said, all the things that I've said, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. And if you want to work with me more, go through my profile and click on all the, get to know me even more if you want to. Or you can get to know you even more, because I like diving into asking the hard questions. If you don't like you, or if you don't like getting compliments, or if you don't know if you like getting compliments or not, remember something simple as, hey, I like that outfit, or hey, I like that car. And if you give a rebuttal instead of just saying thank you, then you can't take a compliment. And we need to dig deep and ask why. Thank you, Dawn. This is how she gonna be for, I don't know, maybe a week. And then whenever I feel like going, I'm gonna get my hair braided again. I'm gonna put the braids back in, but not so many, because it just made my neck hurt. So yes, because listen, that's just it. All right, guys, as always, I thank you for joining. I thank you for hanging around. If you subscribe to the channel, I love you. I appreciate you. And as I always say, make sure you take care of you. You know why. I don't have no empty cup on my desk. When I tell you all my cups are full, All of them. And this one's even full of my Daniel Smith. I used it for mixed media. I wanted these ridges in my mixed media stuff. It's a video I made for my patrons. So all the things. All right, guys. Love you guys. Thank you for showing up again. I appreciate you. I will see you on